It's all about the
Flow
stream.
Max.
It's all about the
all
stream.
about
Flow
the
Max.
All about the flow. There you go.
All right. It is Friday,
Whew.
and we are fired up.
We are fired up.
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Just
Ready to
hanging
go?
out. Yeah,
There
ready
you
to
go.
go. So, who do we got with us today?
Man, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Good in the house.
Dude, we got a gravity well.
Yeah.
We got the bolt down there pulling the room that way.
Tell you what, he looks like he's been like prison yard working out. I mean, it's crazy over there.
You always got to be ready.
I guess so. No, I'm thrilled. So Nick is an incredible dude. We hated each other when we first met. I moved to Dallas. I was doing like one of my first real estate deals in Dallas, and I was slightly I don't know what the word would be.
Douche.
Kind, loving,
Douche.
joyful.
D-bag.
Yes, yeah, I think D-bag was the correct word. And so we had a little, I hate you and you hate me, and then years later we became best friends. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know how that works. I really don't. I still replay it, and
Yeah.
it
It's a
was
beautiful-
not love at first sight.
It's a beautiful thing. It was not love at first sight. No. We're proof that you can make it. You can make it work. All right. So I'm thrilled to dive into Nick's brain here for a minute.
All right.
Speaking of fired up, this guy is known all over the country because he kicks butt and takes names. He's been on all the stages, doing all the things. He has an incredible real estate team, development company, team, business, whatever you want to call it. Among all the other stuff. So give us the unhumble brag real quick on Nick and what you've done and accomplished the last couple of years.
Sure. So last couple of years, I'm just surviving. Let's just put it that way. That is the unhumble brag. Just like everyone else, just surviving. But I own a traditional real estate team called the Good Home Team. Started that in 2007-8 range when all the financial was going well. It was
those were
great
fun.
times.
Those were
I was a
fun.
mortgage guy then. Ouch.
Yes. As a real estate guy, ouch. Right. And the market feels somewhat similar to that right now. And then, so we've grown that real estate team to sell well over 200 properties a year. I have an amazing leadership organization over there and amazing agents. The Good Home Team wouldn't be what it is and wouldn't even be around if it weren't for those people. So, I'm grateful to have them in my world. And then my brother and I started an investment company in 2010, and that turned into a development company that owned at one time a little over $100 million in assets.
Yeah.
We just started selling some stuff off the last couple of years. And then, what else is there?
And that's pretty incredible to go from 0 to $100 million in assets within that short of window has been pretty amazing. I'm sure you learned a lot in that
Learned
time.
a lot. Life has been great. I'm not going to say has been great and very fortunate and blessed. And then, then COVID hit and then the world stopped and then we thought everything was going to be really bad.
Yep.
I lost my brother. My brother passed away in October of 2021. Wow. And so that kind of threw some stuff into chaos, right? That was my best friend, my business partner. We were taking over the world together. That's why I said the last 3 years has just been survival mode, a little bit of a triage of, finishing out projects that we had, finding my new identity.
Yeah.
My identity was tied to his from an investment portfolio and company. Now it's kind of stepping out. He had big shoes to really fill, even though he's only 5'10". He liked to say he was 6 foot, but he was only 5'10" and a half.
5'8's real tall based on my research. I think that's what I tell myself every morning.
Yeah, if they're looking for sympathy, not getting it from over here.
Exactly. Not on this side of the room.
Not over here.
So
I'm only 5'10", you giant.
So again, it's just it's as we look at things. Overall, everyone faces mountains. And my mountain's not any different than anyone else. It's just the experience I'm going through. So it's, it's been a good ride.
Let me ask this. When you said you had good times, did they feel like good times at the moment?
Yes and no. I mean,
Yeah.
I will say that, to get a little deep and personal is like with my brother and I always felt that we could conquer any challenge. Like there was no challenge, no problem. I mean, even when we were low on cash, as we were building this, it's like, who cares? Like we'll figure, we're problem solvers. And with us together and the momentum we have, we will get it figured out.
Right.
So, when he passed away, the first thing that I did, I'm the oldest, and I went into fix it mode of making sure that all our team members, all of the projects still survived and got finished and completed. Which, if I ever go on a job interview, hopefully I don't ever have to do that. But that's going to be the one accomplishment that I say is that even during the tough times, I still showed up and got stuff done when really I didn't want to. So back then it was. We could conquer anything.
Yeah.
Today, I still have that feeling. It's just I'm now searching for the identity that I'm creating because it's no longer us. It's now I, and then the rest of the people that are with me in my organization.
Yeah. So let me ask this, and I mean, I'll tell you what. From the outside looking in, your ability to run in and take care of everybody else at the same time. Like I literally have no idea how the hell you were able to do that and survive. You know what I mean? I know you were in quote unquote survival mode, but holy cow, what a dumpster fire to have to run into and to get everybody else out at the same time. I mean, that was crazy.
You know who doesn't get enough credit is my wife. Like so, I will say that, and I've told her that. I mean, number one, if we can survive that survival, that marriage will never fail.
Because you're super easy to deal with.
I'm
just normally.
so easy to deal with. Yes.
I'm just on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, rainbows, butterflies,
just the
flowers every day.
Super easygoing, not a high D type A personality and want to control everything.
To your wife, we pray for you often.
Yeah, but she took the brunt of it. I mean, I will say that for 3 years, she took the brunt of it, and she had to be the support mechanism to keep me going. When there was times, I will tell you, like, we were on spring break. It was in March of 22. We were in Park City on spring break, and then I'm dealing with stuff, and my body just shut down. I thought I was talking. I actually was shaking and crying, didn't even know it, couldn't get words out. So it was, if it weren't for her, I mean, who knows? It would definitely been a lot worse.
Yeah. How, just to go there before we go back to the work stuff, how did your identity shift?
It's still shifting. Yeah.
So who is Nick Good? How would you describe you now?
I mean, hopefully I would describe, and others, really it's what other people would describe me as.
Yeah.
Hopefully they see me as consistent and stable, and I follow through with what I tell them I'm going to follow through with, which I think in today's world is probably more important than ever.
Huge, yeah.
And hopefully they would say that I'm a good leader and a problem solver to keep things, especially in the real estate world right now, with the lawsuit changes and the uncertainty, the high inflation, high pricing, low buyer confidence, that we are, that from the leadership side, that it's just calm, cool, and collected. Let us worry about those things and make sure that we're putting our people in the best position to win. And hopefully that's what they would say who I am.
What do you, and I would agree with all those things. I'd add on fun and brave and smart and a whole lot of other things. When you look at all that, what do you think has been? How has your leadership evolved over the years? One of the cool things is, I mean, we've all had people come and go, but you've been able to retain some pretty amazing people for a really long time, and that's very rare in this world. How have you evolved as a leader? What do you look for in leaders?
I think that again, this shouldn't be about me bringing it up. They should be here talking about it, right?
So no, we're going to roll their clip in just a minute.
Yeah.
The candid footage will roll here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look, I would say that number one is that I don't believe that I'm better than any of them. And the whole goal is to put them in the best position to win. As long as we're I understand that a lot of the relationship is also financially. Like if they're not hitting their finances, what their obligations are and more than that, then they wouldn't stay.
Yeah.
And so making sure that we're leading them in a way that helps them, achieve whatever their financial goals are. It might not be something that I see as what I would want financially. It's what they want.
Yeah.
And then again, I keep bringing them, putting them in the best position to win. Making sure that I always say, like, let me do the forward thinking. Let me worry about that. Make sure you're taking care of your clients and your customers, that you're providing an amazing service, that you're coming off as the expert, and that you will always be taken care of no matter what. And we will always try to find opportunities for you. And then we've got an amazing team leader, Sarah Steen, who came into my world 3 years ago. It was kind of like, perfect, it was perfect matchup of just God in the universe of saying, this person needed to run the Good Home team, because I would not have been able to do that and everything else at a high enough level. She came in and took things over, and I would say that what's evolved is more of the leverage piece in my life. I mean, you've coached me a lot, Wayne, and listened to my venting and everything else like that. Is for the longest time I was the choking point, and still I'm probably a choking point in most of the businesses that I'm part of. And I have to get out of that way and let those people go run it.
No, you've done a great job with that. And I think one of the things, and we've talked about this before, but like there's a difference between loyalty and alignment. And a lot of times people stay somewhere because they feel overly loyal or whatever it is, or like, you give me so much, I owe you, whatever it is. But it's really an unhealthy kind of vibe at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like sunk cost in reverse.
Exactly. Yeah, it is, right? And like, oh, but he helped me when I had that tough day, right? Which I get, and I love loyal people. But what you're talking about too is I think you've created a real alignment, right? So like, it's like we're loyal to each other because we love each other, we care about each other, we've been there for each other. But also like the money part makes sense, and I'm doing my job, and like you're making what you like. So the alignment piece, I'm not sacrificing money to be part of your world. I'm not sacrificing this. Like it actually aligns because of what you built. And if it doesn't line up, somebody needs to go somewhere else.
Sure. And look, we usually call that in the traditional real estate world, we call that the parasitic team leads, right? The parasitic team owners, where they're just leeching on and sucking the blood out of their agents. And I've always made sure that we weren't doing that.
Yeah.
Right, I didn't want this to make it feel one-sided, and in fact, I'll give you a perfect example. Is that every morning 8:45, Lucas and Sarah are leading our 8:45 operational meeting today. But on this week's, one of the calls this week, we talked about something that we were doing wrong as an operation. Is that our agents, we don't take a split from our agents when they do a lease.
Right.
Well, what we used to do though was to say, well, since we're not taking a split, you can process that paperwork in the transaction and then figure out how to get paid.
Because agents are great at paperwork.
Correct. And so
it's like being right. We're so good at the business side of business, by the way. Yeah.
And so we was like, look, that was on us. That was a selfish reason because we're not getting paid. That's ridiculous. So we said, from now on, the operational team will process this because we're here to help the leverage piece of your business as well. And you're not good at paperwork.
Yeah.
Most agents aren't, right? They turn things in late. They don't get all the compliance docs in. They're scrambling last minute. The brokerage, really, is stressed out to the max that they're trying to get the commission disbursement out. So we just implemented that rule. And so it's ever evolving. And that was a slow learn to implement.
Yeah.
But, it's always to make sure, like, how are we helping them?
So how have you handled the care of candor part? Like, so say you got a team member who's they're turning in incomplete paperwork. They're not doing their part of it before it goes to the admin. How would you handle those kinds of situations?
Sometimes in the beginning it's nice, and then at the end it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes tough love works.
Yeah.
It works for me.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, our job is to make sure that if God forbid something happened, we got sued, that we are buttoned up.
Yeah.
And it's to protect them because look, we've had some of our agents get into some situations, and luckily we had everything buttoned up and it went away, fairly easy.
Yeah.
And we said, this is the reason why we do those things, and we're here to help, and don't shortcut at anything. When you shortcut, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation.
Yeah. Yep. What you got, brother?
Oh, dude, I'm over here loving this because, well, like you said, we were talking earlier, the alignment thing. It's like as you go along and you discover that, okay, to get to the next level, the alignment needs to change.
Yeah.
Or let's put it this way. My alignment turns out to be different than what it was 6 months ago. Now we got to course correct. Because there's the thing of, it's not in the brochure about like, oh, when you get to here and you have 5 people, it looks different when you're at 10 people.
Right.
Or you're at X and now you're at Y.
Yeah.
And then like now, second location. Oh, okay, that's a whole nother fresh hell of like pains in the ass that it's a force multiplier.
Yeah.
And my thing is trying to be diplomatic as I go. And so like there, whenever you literally are shouldering the weight of the world, my thing is, okay, there's the kind candor, and then there's, okay, am I going to check him into the boards, or am I not going to say anything and do the John Wayne thing,
Yep.
and then it comes out sideways later?
Absolutely.
You know, and then the other thing is, and I don't know how you guys dealt with this or found this, because it's like, now that I have a partner that is equal in not only age and experience and everything else, I have somebody that I can bounce stuff off of that I didn't have before. Now I'm worried about like, oh geez, here I might go wear his ass out again,
Right.
you know? And so I'm not sure, I'm in the learning curve on
Yeah.
that. And so I love this where it's like, you know, I get a coach, and then I have another show where I got another coach, and then we get guys like you in where it's like, okay, you guys are orders of magnitude further along and higher. Cause like a year ago, this was a barbershop. You know, so it's like there's this crazy growth, and then there's like this holy shit, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then there's that thing of like I have nobody to talk to, and now I do, and now I'm wearing that dude out, or I worry about that, you know, and then it's like, well, I'll see him later this afternoon, and commence to wearing him out again.
We'll work it out.
Well, and it goes to, so congrats on the second location, by the way.
Thank you.
And, you know, I'm assuming that Fired Up Friday is about getting people fired up. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
you would just name it that unless we're all burning things down. So it's either
Depends
one
on
or
the
the
Friday.
other.
Yeah, historically,
Depends on the
yeah,
Friday. Yes,
Historically,
yeah.
so I, you know, pull the curtain back. I've been sober for almost 20 years.
Congrats.
And, thank you. And so, yeah, the Light It on Fire had a completely different meaning.
Absolutely.
Yep. So what I would say is from, you know, to get someone fired up and hear this is that typically the John Wayne thing is they think as the owner or the leader, they've got it, they shoulder it all in. And then what ends up happening is then they burn it all down, because what do they do? They get burned out and they say, F it. You
Yep.
know what? I don't give a shit about anything.
Yep.
Whoever, like, they're going to leave dead bodies behind them. And then what ends up happening is that business grew, and then they couldn't sustain it.
Yeah.
And then it falls apart, and now they're in freak out, worst case, you know, catastrophizing everything. And then they manifest it going out of business.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. Right? Versus, you know, we've grown. I've just bought a contract and remodeling company, and that thing has had some troubles. And it's like, you know, at first we're like, just burn it all down. Like, it's not worth the headache, but it is. Like, there's a reason why we bought it. You know, I own a property management company that massively grew in the first 2 years. And when that happens, what does it do? It breaks every system. People aren't happy, and now you're worried about your reputation. But at the same time, it grew really, really fast for a reason. And then you've got to then go place the right personnel, the right people on the bus. And that takes work, and most people don't want to do that, right? Because what do they want to do? They imagine this amazing business, right? It's the emotional cycle of change. They can see of the other side of this valley,
Right.
They can see all this money, this gold, this time freedom, whatever the reason why they're doing this. But what they don't see is the massive drop off, and there's
yeah.
no bridge to walk across. You've got to drop down, climb down in the valley,
The Valley of Despair.
the valley of despair. And you're like, in between, that's phase 2 and 3 of this, right? That's where most people quit, because it sucks.
So what do you tell yourself in there? Like,
Yeah.
most people get to the Valley of Despair and go, you know, it wasn't that bad before, and they just retreat. What do you do? I mean, you could have retired years ago. What do you? Why do you keep going? What do you tell yourself? What is that thing?
Well, I have an expensive wife and family.
Well, this is true. This
So
is
I
true.
do joke about that. I'm like, Heather, like, if we didn't have all these kids and this fourth one on the way at 41 years old.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Yeah.
You know, we could be that private jet money that I wanted back then. I could have had it by now. But so I don't think with emotions. Like, I don't emotionally. I don't let things. I don't make decisions based when I'm in that emotional heat.
Right.
Even though I want to. That's the Fired Up Friday. That's when I'm burning everything down. I'm definitely firing it up. But I think more in that logical, and I sit here and say, all right, you know, there's really 5 phases of this kind of cycle. And that first phase is where we're euphoric. It's that, all right, we have this business plan. I got my license. I opened up this studio, and you're like, it's going to be great. We're going to help people. We're going to get our brand out there. We're going to help other people's brand get out there. And you're not thinking about the problems because you haven't been in the war yet. Right. Then you start getting into, and then all these things start breaking. You know, you're relying on employees doing what they say they're going to do, and they don't. And then you're starting to go down, and you're starting to climb down that valley, right? And phase 2 and 3 is phase 2 is now you're in the war, and you're like, holy shit, this is not what I
Shots
thought
fired.
it was going to be. In fact, I thought I was going to have all this money and time freedom. I'm now working more, and I'm not making any money. is this worth it? And you're like, I just started it. So you're still feeling, you still have that energy feeling going. You get down to phase 3, which is Valley Despair. Between phase 2 and phase 3, because phase 2 is now you're in that informed pessimistic side of things. You're not in the uninformed optimism, which is you don't know what you don't know. Now you kind of know, and you're like, this shit is not what I thought it was going to be. How many times have we've heard people like, this is going to be awesome. Then they get in, it doesn't work. It sucks. I didn't make any money. I lost money. How long did you try it? Well, I tried it for a week.
Yeah.
I tried it for 30 days. I'm like, so Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world, they didn't make money for a long time. In fact, they were a bookstore, right? So, it's like you just keep going if you believe in what you're doing. And so phase 3 is that Valley Despair. It's like, all right, from phase 2 to phase 3, it's got to get better, right? No, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better, right? So when you're not in the eye of the storm yet, it's going to get a little bit better. You get in the eye, and then you start to pass through the other side. Now, as long as you don't quit and give up, and you're still doing the actions every day, you're going to start getting into phase 4, a little bit better, and then phase 5 is really what was once hard now becomes routine. It's like success and fulfillment. And then that's when you start, then you have to worry a little bit between 4 and 5 because you're starting to get success. You're starting to make a little bit of money. You don't want to work as much anymore. And it's like running a marathon uphill and you're like, all right, let me take a break. But you're pushing this boulder uphill, right? You're running this marathon and you're pushing this boulder uphill. Phase 4 is like, all right, we're going up here. And then all of a sudden, you're like, all right, it's time to take a break. I'm tired. I got some money. I'm going to go where? Vacation. Then they go on vacation. They get in vacation mode. They set that boulder aside. They step aside. That boulder rolls back down because they didn't have a ready, stable business. They didn't build a solid foundation on it. And that's where a lot of these companies get stuck. Yeah. And where they're like, man, how can Wayne go start something and it always works? Well, it's because you're used to the war. You already know logically thinking that I just have to get through this. And if I believe what I'm doing and I have the right foundation for bringing business in, for attracting them in, or whatever your marketing mechanism, a lead generation mechanism is, as long as we have that and it's you can predict it, then you can get to phase 5, which is what was once hard now becomes easy and routine. And then it's just like clockwork. And all right, I can go open up 5 of these podcasts in these studio video locations, and I know predictably it's going to make X amount every single year. And here's the problems that I'm going to have.
Well, so in that I hear 3 things. Like one is like you know who you are, right? So like like going to that that you're someone that figures it out. You keep going. You do the next right thing, right? But also the second thing is like you understand the process. So like when you're in phase 3, it's not like I'm broken. It's like, oh, I'm in phase 3. So I think that awareness is really, really key. And then you do have a vision for what it's going to be like on the other side, which I think is beautiful. What do you think is the best thing you do for your team members as they're going through those phases?
I think helping them identify where they're at.
Yeah.
Right. And
like, oh, you're in phase 3. Congratulations. You're halfway.
And because not everyone's like me where I don't let emotions rule the nest. Yeah. A lot of people think they wear their emotions on the sleeve and that they make their decisions based on that.
Yeah.
And, it's our job to hopefully the cliche saying is that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? We would only drown them. And so we're not here to drown them. I'm here to just lead you to that. And eventually, if you don't get it, then you need to go.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. We're just going to find people who we can help guide them to what their end destination is going to be and help them arrive. I mean, we're basically tour guides and helping them walk through a field of landmines and making sure that they don't step on one and blow themselves up.
What's your advice for business owners right now, especially real estate team leaders? What's your advice for them right now going through what we're going through?
I mean, one, I believe that if they are out of production, which I'm a small percentage of business, I jump back in to lead.
Right.
I wanted to show them that, number one, in the last 45 days, I've taken on more clients than I probably have in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. And these aren't just friends and family and sphere, right? This is cold business, and I want to show them everything that I'm going to do works.
Yeah.
And so you got to lead out front, especially in these uncertain times. Mm-hmm. The second thing is you don't have a business if you're the majority of the production.
Right.
Right. So we need to be careful of what we're calling a team and an organization or a business. Right. Yeah. Right now, you might if you're over 50% of that business and you pull out, that's not a business.
Right. Yeah.
And so you have to either accept that
Yeah.
and maybe let your ego go and maybe merge with another team.
Right.
Like we're in talks with merging with several people or organizations because at the end of the day, they don't know how to get out of that production to make it profitable
Yeah.
for them, and we can help them do that. Or just accept for what it is and don't overdo it,
Yeah.
and make sure that the money that you're bringing in gets reinvested and allocated in assets that will help lead to whatever your retirement goals are.
Yeah. Well, and here's one of the reasons why I would encourage people to get in business with you is because I've seen you do the tough right thing over and over. And I think that's one of my tests when I'm looking at people to do life with or business with is like, will they do the tough right thing? You know what I mean? And there's so many people that you see them, they get their back against the wall and they don't do the right thing, right? And I think that it's that's an amazing quality that you have is you've consistently done the tough thing, the right thing when it wasn't the easy thing, and you could have justified maybe another way or doing something else. So
It's not fun.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. All right, Rick, what's your last question? Then I got one.
Oh, jeez. So I'm stuck. I love and I'm stuck now on informed pessimism.
Yep.
Where I'm like, oh, that's okay. That's who I am. You know, because it's like I always said, I'm like, oh, I'm an optimistic nihilist. Where it's like, oh, it's all going to hell into the handbasket.
Yes.
But you know, we could probably pull it out.
Yeah.
We have fun on the way.
Yeah. So there is that element of self-awareness
Yeah.
where you're like, okay, this is what hard feels like. It's like, okay, this sucks because it's hard, but to get to where you wanted to go, you didn't think it was going to be easy, did you? And so how do you deal with those times where it's nothing but informed pessimism?
Yeah.
Where, and I can't remember who I said it to the other day, but it was like, dealing with person X, and it was like, dude, they're da 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 da. And it's like, I want to believe the best, but it's like, turns out, no, they were exactly like I predicted. And it was like, everything just shit itself exactly like predicted. Sometimes that's the toughest thing to get past. And it's not necessarily where I'm wearing my emotions on my sleeve. It's just like, oh, that's frustrating, dude. Where it's like, can't we all just like suit up, show up, do the thing, and then go on? Turns out, no.
Well, there's a reason why you're the business owner, right? There's a reason why you're the leader, because you'll show up and you're going to suit up, right?
Yeah.
Versus we get upset when people, especially if they're employees, they don't take it seriously. And I get frustrated with that. But at the same time, if they were to take it as an ownership role, like think of as business owner, they would be a business owner. Let's be real. Like, and we all need employees, and there is safety. Like, a lot of my team members, there's safety in knowing that they will have a consistent, reliable paycheck, right? And that's great. And then hopefully we can lead them to bigger opportunities within our world. And when you're always in that kind of phase 2 to phase 3, like uninformed pessimism to valley despair, your vision and why, and I used to think this was kind of bullshit. The why has to be strong enough to get to the other side. And I was talking, my sister-in-law's in town for a wedding, and I met her boyfriend that came into town. We were talking, and he's like, he's kind of looking, at his next move, and he's like, I'm just not really passionate about anything. I was like, I wasn't passionate about real estate. I didn't wake up and be like, I would love to be a realtor. I love showing people houses. Actually, I don't really love houses. It's a vehicle. It was a vehicle that allowed me to get to the financial destination that I want, to then start creating the type of lifestyle that I wanted, to then evolving into seeing these as true businesses. Because, in everything that we're doing when we start a business, we're every employee that we imagine we would have. We're the receptionist, we're the treasurer, right? We're the CPA, the CFO, the CEO, we're the sales leader, we're the salesperson. And a lot of people are like, I don't like sales. Like, then don't be a business owner. If you don't like sales, guess what you do when you go apply for a job, and to go on an interview? You're selling yourself to get that job, right? So we are all salespeople.
Yes.
And so when we're going through that phase 2 to phase 3, if we truly believe in our business and we truly believe it's going to be the right vehicle to get us to where we want to go, that's what's going to keep you committed to getting to that other side. If it's not something that you believe it's actually going to get there, then what you're going to do is you're going to half-ass it. You're going to let it die and be like, see, Wayne, I told you. I know you're coaching. I'm paying you a lot of money for coaching, but I told you this was the wrong move. I want my money back.
Okay, last question. Let's say this is your last day. What's the one message you want to leave the world?
Ooh, Wish you would have prepped me with this one.
Well, the fun for me is not prepping you.
Yeah.
That's my joy for the day.
Well, I don't ever believe it's going to be my last day. So hopefully Heather will watch this because my goal is to be frozen.
Oh, there
and
you
be
go.
brought
Yes.
back.
Amen.
And I am putting that
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
But just believe in yourself. I mean, mental health is really a problem right now,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of people not having confidence in them.
Yeah.
We've got to start believing in ourselves that, we're the only ones that are going to be able to take care of ourselves and to pick ourselves up, to push us forward. It's not going to be really anybody else. Like Wayne, you are a master at motivating people.
Right.
You have the gift of the words, not even gift of gab, because I think that's kind of bullshit. But you are a wordsmith to help motivate people. But that only lasts for so long.
100%.
It may even only last for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
You yourself has to be the one that believes in yourself so much that you're going to push yourself forward when shit hits the fan.
So what's a practical way that someone can build that muscle or build that belief?
Affirmations every single day.
Yep.
Every single day. I have it right here on my phone. I started, again, I used to think all this stuff was kind of hocus pocus bullshit. And I have it here and I have multiple ones that I pull up for whatever I'm doing. And I share these with people, right? Because a lot of this has to do with confidence. I was built to endure any chaos. And I say that multiple times a day, right? I was built to endure any chaos. And then self-care, I deserve the best. Because a lot of people that I'm seeing is like we have from our childhood, a lot of this roots from how we grew up with our
The
childhood.
question of worthiness.
Yes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to be all right. At the end of the day, and Wayne can attest this, when I was going through a lot of stuff, I would call up Wayne, and it's like, look, dude, you're going to be all right. Sometimes you have to hear from other people, right? You got to have your pact on that. My healthy relationships, I'm thankful for my wife.
Yep.
Like during that time, I was definitely a horrible husband, right? Because I went into fix-it mode on everything else, and what falls is usually your intimate relationship. I'm thankful for my friends that care for me. And then my morning affirmations is I'm grateful to have woken up today. Today I'm going to be my best self. And then my sleep affirmations, because after losing my brother, he took his own life, right? So suicide and mental health was never in my world until October 6th of 2021. And so one of these things is all of a sudden I started developing some anxiety. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and I couldn't turn it off. And that was weird. I've never had that before. And sleep affirmations I do is I'm at peace with everything I cannot control. I'm a control freak. Like when things aren't going there, I'm trying to at 11:59 p.m. right before, like when you should be sleeping, I'm over here like, why are they not responding? I just sent a text. Like they need to be doing work. I'm up, right? So I'm at peace of everything I cannot control. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. Wow. Productivity. Failure is part of success, right? So as we're going through that failure, we have to have failure to learn.
Yep.
We don't learn from our wins and successes. We couldn't tell you, this studio is freaking amazing. If this was only successful and you open up another one that's successful and you didn't experience any failure, you couldn't tell me how you built it and how you could actually replicate it. You're like, oh, you just go open up location, put a green screen here, put some cameras and some mics, and all the business just comes in, right? So, right, you couldn't tell me. It's going to be from the failures.
Yeah.
And if I keep trying, my successes will increase.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The harder that I work, the luckier I get. I mean, that's one of those things. And then we all have this kind of weird relationship with money. So I have a whole affirmations around that.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I share it?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just making sure I'm not boring you.
No, not at all.
I believe I have all the money I need.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of times we get so focused on certain amounts. I'm hyper focused on. I have an unhealthy relationship with money. Right? I'm always chasing it, not attracting it, and so it's going into attraction mode. I'm in control of my financial wellness.
Yeah.
I deserve the money that I earn. Right? You start earning and making some good amount of coin, and sometimes you don't always feel like you deserve it.
It gets weird.
Yes,
It does.
Really weird. My money works hard for me, right? Because the other goal is like when we start making money and we start reaping the rewards of our successes, is that we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And we need to go make it work because it's not always guaranteed that our businesses can be here. My prosperity is limitless. My actions create prosperity. I visualize financial peace. My life is filled with wealth, and wealth can be whatever that means to you. I'm financially confident. I use my money to improve the lives of others.
Yeah.
Right? So as we go through this, I have a healthy relationship with money, and I release my fears around money. And then I'm intentionally building wealth as it is a process.
Damn,
So-
I might need to copy that paper.
Those
I'll
are
send it
so,
to you.
Those
Yeah.
are so freaking
I'm
good.
like, if you reach out to me, I send it
Well,
to
like
anybody. that's
no
willing to have-
bullshit. Just to close it out, like
Yeah.
pull the curtain back. It's like I go to essentially I call it a paid sponsor / like business sponsor
Yep.
rather than a recovery sponsor.
Right.
Although it's all tied together, but it's about the money thing.
Yep.
It was literally okay. I can see what's potential and like right around the corner. And historically, my thing is like, and now is when we light the fuse. And, then, 6 months from now, it all blows up. And it's like, how'd that happen? It's like, oh, you've been doing that the whole time.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's me. Now it's every Monday at noon.
Perfect. Yeah, we need that. I would be
so
happy
good.
to. I'll send it to Wayne, and Wayne can share that out. And
Right
then
on.
If anybody if they want to reach out to me, then that's something I will be happy to share with anybody because we have, again. I take my son to school every morning. That's something that I try not to miss. Like it has to be something massive for me to miss that. We listen to Snoop Dogg's affirmation song every morning. It's absorbing. He doesn't want to listen to it, but it's all like it's getting absorbed. Right?
Osmosis.
Yes. And so ultimately, it's something that I didn't grow up with from an affirmation. I don't think our parents really knew it at a high enough level. They weren't aware of that. And so we're going to bring that to the forefront to make sure that we're going to instill, belief in themselves first, so that we're not having that lack of confidence and that fear and shyness of that I can't do anything.
Yeah. Well, and to put a bow on it, like, and I think it's so true. And I'm reading a book right now, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, and I'm sure most of you have read it. Like, but what the devil talks about that book is one of the biggest things he uses to destroy people is fear of poverty, right? All this other stuff. And what you're talking about, so I love what you said, because when we talk about like building confidence, for you in essence, like you have a system, a way of like reminding yourself who the hell you are. And I think if we don't get really intentional about reminding ourselves who the hell we are, the world's going to try to tell us who we are, and it's not going to be in our favor.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, and if you might remind yourself, like, I survived having a baby. I survived this. I dealt with this. I've overcome this. Like you may need to have a list of things that remind you who the heck you are, and you have to remind yourself every single day. It's not a one-time thing. It's every day. Who the hell am I? And you read that and you're like, okay, it reminds you who you are, and then you can go tackle the things.
And stop comparing yourself, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
My mountain is the same size as your mountain.
Yeah.
Because you're not in my shoes, I'm not in yours.
Yeah.
So we're all climbing the same mountain and hill, and we think, I might look at yours and be like, man, that's a tiny little molehill, Wayne. Like, what are you complaining about? And you're like, well, I've never experienced yours. This is the only thing I know.
Right.
And we've got to be more aware of that.
Yeah.
Because what we like to do is we like to do kind of the one-ups, like, oh, you think your life is bad? I mean, look at this one over here. It's like, no, let's not do that.
Yeah.
And then financially, let's not compare. There's always someone that's going to have more money. There's someone always that appears to be more successful.
Well, one of the billionaires on the All In podcast was talking about this the other day. He's like, man, one of the things I struggle with is comparison. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like you're the dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like who do you compare yourself to? Solomon? Like what's the thing you get into? It's crazy. Love you. Seriously.
Love you too.
I love you as a business owner, a leader, and a friend. So grateful to have you in my life. Seriously, my life is better because you're in it. And
Likewise.
I'm incredibly grateful for you. Thank you for being on Fired Up Friday. We're going to jet out of here, and we're going to be on the only real estate.
Nope.
I don't know where we're going to be. We're going to be on something.
We just launched a DFW Real Estate Mastermind group. So
There
for
you go.
agents to really, you're going to share your 14-day reignite. So again,
Yes.
it's perfect
Yep.
for Fire Up Friday.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Your 14-day reignite program.
Yes. Yep.
So again, a lot of these agents are scared of what's going on. They think their money's going down. We're not manifesting that. We're actually going to help them take market share. And so we're going to do
Just
that.
follow the plan.
at
Just
10 a.m.
follow the plan.
Yep. So I got to be in my office here in 20 minutes. Luckily,
Yep.
it's close by.
Whew,
and
there
so,
we go.
Rick, I appreciate you letting me come crash.
Oh, dude, likewise. Dude, I love this. And like for me, the trick is like, if you want good coaching and good mentors and everything, build a studio.
Yes.
And host a show.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Peace out.
Peter takes out.
got to run so I can start this.
Very good. All right, I'll be there in a minute.
Whatever
Thank you,
need,
brother.
man. Group text me so I can send it to you, and then whatever you need for show wise, I mean, I'll help you grow this thing.
Oh, dude, I love it. Hell
This-
yeah,
this is a
man.
great studio.
Thank you.
Thank
dude.
you, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Everything's already recording.
Oh yeah, we just need him.
All right, you good? Want me to go for it?
Yeah, ready when you are.
Go.
The lie is you should be able to figure it out on your own, right? The lie is just work harder, right? Here's the biggest thing that I see so many leaders struggling with. They're trying to do it on their own. And they think that if they were more smarter, if they worked harder, right, they would figure it out. It's a freaking lie. The dumbest way you can do this journey as a leader is by trial and error, right? So we created Broker Boardroom out of need because you, as a leader, right, whether you're a real estate leader in a team or a brokerage, right, there's a lot of people around you telling you what you should be doing different, but they haven't been where you are. They haven't gone as far in the journey or up the hill as you have. What you actually are going to benefit from the most is getting advice from people that are on the journey with you, right? People that have gone further than you have or are where you're at, right? So that's why we created Broker Boardroom, is to act as a board of advisors where you get to come in. This time we're doing it on top of a skyscraper in Manhattan. It is going to be incredible, right? And what we do is we come in and you bring your biggest issues. You go, man, I'm struggling with retention, and you're going to have people share with you the best things they've done, right, to help with that. We have billionaires flying in from their islands in Bahamas to come and spend time with us, pour into us what they know, right? And so that we can extract that and not have to learn from trial and error. We have Dr. Chuck Morris, who's coming in and is going to teach us what he's doing to help people to live to 130, right? Because if we don't know how to take care of this thing, right, nothing else matters. Broker Boardroom it's one day, and I'll tell you what, it is a gift you give yourself. You fly in for the day, you're going to get poured into, you're going to walk away with tactics that are actually working right now. It is a no BS day where you are poured into as an amazing leader that you are. I'll see you at Broker Boardroom.
Sounds like you've done it.